Hello guys, I'm Sneha S from CSE Cybersecurity from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. Today I'll be explaining about arrays and pointers. Introduction. What is an array? An array is a collection of similar data types or collection of similar entity that is stored in a memory location. Usually an array of a character is a string. Each item in an array is called as an element, and each element is unique and located in separate memory location. Each of the elements of an array share a variable, but each element having different index number that is known as subscript. There are usually four types of arrays, that are single dimensional array, two dimensional array, three dimensional array, and multi-dimensional array. How do we declare an array? There is a syntax where we declare an array using the data type, array name, and the size. Data type may be int, float, double. Array name can be anything, and the size is the length, like it can be any numerical constant. For example, int array 100, int a of 5, where we declare the constants. The declaration of array tells the compiler that the data type, name of the array, and the size of the array, and for each element is occupies some memory space. Like for int data, it occupies 2 bytes, and for each element, and for float, it occupies 4 bytes. We can represent individual array as int AR5, AR of 0, example. These are some examples for individual array. And in case there is any symbolic constant, we have to define it like hashtag define size 10. So how do we access the elements of an array? To access an array element, refer to its index number. That is nothing but the index number or subscript number. Usually the subscript starts with 0. That means 0 is the first element. For example, in int my number, 25, 50, 75, and 100 is given. So when we printf my numbers of 0, it refers to the first element. That means whenever the array index starts with 0, it refers to the first element. How do we change an array element? Like you have given some values to the array and later you have to change. For example, here int numbers is the first element is 25, the second element is 50, the third element is 35, 75, and the fourth element is 100. But we are changing it to the zeroth element as 33. So when you print my numbers of 0, you will get 33 instead of 25 because the first number is changed. Loops through an array. So we usually use for loop in order to give the values to the array. Here we have 4 values given for the array named my numbers, that is 25, 50, 75, and 100. Now when we use the for loop, like for I is equal to 0, I less than 4, I plus plus, that is the increment. So when we print the values of n, we get the output as 25, 50, 75, 100. That means we have used the for loop in order to display the numbers of the array. Two-dimensional array. We haven't discussed a single dimensional array because it is same as the previous one which I told you. Now we'll be discussing about two-dimensional array. A two-dimensional array is also known as matrix because what is a matrix? It's a table of rows and columns. To create a 2D array of integers, we have to take two different arrays. That is, one is for rows and one is for column. Here is an example, int matrix 2 of 3. So we are that means there are 2 rows and 3 columns, and these are the elements of those array. The first dimension represents the number of rows, that is 2, and the second dimension represents the number of columns, that is 3. Here this table is an example for two-dimensional array. Accessing an array in 2D. How do we access element in 1D? The same thing will be followed here. You must specify the index number of both row and column. In single dimensional array, we used to specify one number. But here we have to specify both the numbers. For example, they have given us two multiplication of matrix, that is 1, 4, 2 and 3, 6, 8. Now we are printing the 0th and the second element. So the output will be 2. Loops in 2D. In the single dimensional array, we use for loop, and in the two dimensional array also, we have to go for loop. But here we'll be considering 2 for loops in order to display our arrays. Here for int I we have taken one for loop, and for int j we have taken another for loop, and we have printed the matrix of both I and j. This is an example for two-dimensional array. Here we are displaying the multiplication of two matrices, that are combination of two arrays, where int array includes 4 rows and 3 columns, and we have taken for loop and for loop for I and for loop for j, and we are printing the array of both I and j, where we are returning 0 because we have used int. The output will be as shown here. Multidimensional array, it can be termed as arrays of array that stores homogeneous data, that is same type of data in tabular form. Data in multidimensional arrays is generally stored in row measured order in the memory. So the general form for declaring multidimensional array is shown below. Data type, it goes same as for single dimensional and two dimensional, but the size is increased here. Compared to one-dimensional, two-dimensional arrays, multidimensional has a higher storage value. Data type is a type of data that can be stored in the array. Array name is the name of the array which we have given, and size is the size of each dimension. Now let us look into our second topic, that is pointers. So what are pointers? A pointer in a C language is a variable which stores the address of another variable. In array, we store the variable, but in pointers, it states as the address where the variable is exactly stored. The variable can be of any type, like int, char, array, function, or any other pointer. The size of the pointer depends on the architecture. However, in 32-bit architecture, the size of pointer is 2 byte. Here are some examples where int n is equal to 10 and int asterisk p is equal to and n. Variable of p pointer is pointing to the address of variable in n type of integer. We'll be seeing how do we actually come to know where is a pointer. This is how we declare a pointer. The pointer in C language can be declared using an asterisk. It is also known as indirectional pointer, used to difference a point. Whenever we use an asterisk, it states as that a pointer is used, and it also tells where exactly that particular element is stored. Address of array through pointers. So now we can find out the address of array using pointers. Here is an example where it says int my numbers. It consists of 4 elements, which is the size, and the elements are 25, 50, 75, 100. For I is equal to 0, I less than 4, I plus plus. That means we are going to display all the 4 elements. But what are we exactly displaying? In printf, you can see that after %p/n, there is and my numbers, which means we have to, this and is used for pointing out the difference of that particular array, and therefore the result shows us the address of the given 4 elements of an array. Here is one more example. Here we are using an array, and also and asterisk are used, which stores the address of the numerical variable. When we print the address of variable p will contain the address of number, therefore printing p gives the address of number. And printf, as we know that asterisk is used to difference a pointer, therefore when we print p asterisk p, we will get the value stored at the address. So asterisk will give us the value stored, and the and symbol will give us the address of the given array. The output will be address of the given variable is the given address and the value of that. Asterisk is used for displaying the value, whereas the and is used for to show the address of the given array. Thank you. Guys, please like and subscribe to my channel.